It's an all-out war for survival as a deadly virus turns passengers into unstoppable zombies. Can they fight their way to safety? Let's find out. The movie begins with a truck approaching a toll booth, being sanitized by workers in hazmat suits. The truck driver, annoyed by the delay, accuses them of slowing him down, but they assure him that everything is fine, explaining there's been a minor leak at a nearby nuclear plant. As the driver passes through, his phone rings, distracting him, and he accidentally hits a doe. After briefly inspecting the scene, he drives off, unaware that the doe, now infected, rises and stares ominously after him. Meanwhile, in Seoul, Suk-woo, a busy fund manager, struggles to balance his demanding job and caring for his young daughter Soo-in. His recent divorce has only made things worse. After a long, stressful day, Suk-woo mistakenly buys Soo-in the same birthday gift he got her last year. Disappointed, Soo-in expresses her desire to visit her mother in Busan. Initially reluctant due to work, Suk-woo's mother convinces him by showing a video of Soo-in performing Aloha Oe at her school recital, a performance Suk-woo missed because of work. Feeling guilty, Suk-woo agrees to take Soo-in to Busan. Early the next morning, Suk-woo drives Soo-in to the train station, narrowly avoiding a swarm of ambulances and police cars rushing by. Confused, he wonders what could be happening, but Soo-in distracts him by catching an ember floating from a distant burning building. Despite the unsettling scene, they continue to the station and board the KTX train to Busan. On the train, they meet various passengers, two elderly sisters, In-gil and John-gil, and a homeless man who seems aware of the escalating chaos. Just as the train is about to depart, a young woman, twitching in pain and sporting a large bite on her leg, stumbles aboard. As the train pulls away, the station manager signals its departure, only to spot a frantic crowd screaming in terror. Moments later, he's ambushed by a rabid human, a scene witnessed only by Soo-in from her seat. Frightened, she goes to the bathroom. In the lower cars, a train attendant finds the injured woman and tries to help her, unaware that she's turning into a zombie. The woman fully transforms and attacks the attendant, who stumbles into the baseball team's car. Both are quickly overtaken by the infection, and chaos begins to spread through the train. The two zombies attack most of the baseball team, turning them into a horde. Only 4 students manage to escape: baseball player Young-guk, his crush Jin-hee, and 2 unnamed boys. The zombies surge toward the upper compartments, infecting everyone in their way. Meanwhile, Soo-in unknowingly heads toward the lower cars in search of a bathroom. Suk-woo wakes up and realizes Soo-in is missing from her seat. He gets a call from a co-worker, who informs him that violent riots are breaking out across Korea. Moments later, panicked passengers from the lower compartments rush past him, screaming. Realizing Soo-in might be in danger, Suk-woo runs in the opposite direction and spots Soo-in standing in front of an oncoming zombie horde. He grabs her, and they race back to their compartment, pursued by the zombies. But Suk-woo successfully reaches his compartment and attempts to barricade it, merely locking Sanhwa and Song-kyung out in the process. They realize the zombies are unable to open it, merely charging at the sight of humans. Song-kyung cleverly uses water and newspapers to cover the windows, tricking the zombies into thinking no one is inside. Over the intercom, the conductor informs the passengers that the train will stop at Daegu Station, where the military has been dispatched. Meanwhile, Yeon-suk calls his company contacts to get information on Daegu. Suk-woo overhears the call and deduces that arriving passengers will be quarantined. Determined to avoid this, he contacts a co-worker and arranges for him to pick up him and Soo-in separately to avoid quarantine. When the train arrives at the seemingly deserted Daegu station, Suk-woo takes Soo-in toward the east exit, where they expect to be picked up. The homeless man, overhearing Suk-woo's plan, follows them. As they make their way down a hallway, they spot a soldier in the distance. Relieved, Suk-woo tells Soo-in to stay put while he rushes toward the soldier for help. However, the soldier is badly injured and pleads for assistance just as a horde of infected soldiers rounds the corner, overwhelming and devouring him. Meanwhile, the rest of the survivors head for the main exit. As they reach the bottom of the escalator, they see a group of uniformed soldiers, only to realize too late that the soldiers are infected. Chaos erupts as several passengers are attacked and turned into zombies, while others scramble back up the escalator, fleeing toward the station. Inside the station concourse, Suk-woo faces the zombies and urgently tells Soo-in to run. She does and bumps into Song-kyung and Sanhwa, who are also rushing back toward the train with the others. Song-kyung grabs Soo-in and they sprint toward the platform, while Sanhwa and the remaining baseball players hold off the horde in a desperate fight for survival. After managing to lock the exit door, Young-guk, Suk-woo, Sanhwa, and the others run to the train. Unfortunately, Jungkook's two friends are attacked and infected as they reach the platform. Meanwhile, Jin-hee, Yeon-suk, and a few others successfully board the train. Sung Kye-young and Soo-in are about to board when a glass bridge above the platform shatters, sending zombies crashing down. One of the zombies falls between In-gil and Jong-gil, separating the two sisters. In-gil is dragged aboard Jin-hee's compartment, while Jong-gil, Sung Kye-young, and Soo-in run in the opposite direction. Sung Kye-young, Soo-in, Jang-gil, and the homeless man barricade themselves inside a bathroom in one of the lower infected compartments, while Jungkook, Sukwu, and Sanhwa manage to reach a safer compartment. Sanhwa calls his wife and realizes she's trapped in the bathroom with others. Determined to save them, the trio fights through the infected compartments. They soon discover the zombies are blind in darkness and only respond to sound. Using this to their advantage, they rescue Sung Kye-young, Soo-in, and the others, and make their way to the first compartment. Jungkook texts Jin-hee, letting her know they are on their way. Jin-hee shares the news, but instead of relief, the passengers in her compartment react with fear and hostility. They decide to lock the door to prevent the group from entering. As Jungkook tries to break the door open, Sukwu and Sanhwa hold off the zombies on the other side. With time running out, Sanhwa makes a heartbreaking decision, telling Sukwu to protect his wife and child, sacrificing himself to distract the zombies. With tears in his eyes, Sukwu lets go of the door and pulls Soo-in and Sung Kye-young toward the barricaded door. Before being overrun, Sanhwa manages to tell his wife the name he chose for their unborn son. The survivors break through the barricaded door and enter the compartment, but Jang-gil is not fast enough and gets eaten. Inside the compartment, Sukwu furiously confronts Yeon-suk, blaming him for Sanhwa and Jang-gil's deaths. Yeon-suk, unwilling to accept responsibility, lies to the others, claiming that Sukwu and his group are infected. Driven by fear, the passengers forced Sukwu, Sung Kye-young, Soo-in, and Jin-hee out of the compartment and into the narrow hallway between cars. They tie down the door, preventing them from re-entering. In-gil, devastated by the loss of her sister, spots Jang-gil's zombified face through the door window. Realizing the group's selfish actions caused her sister's death, she quietly tells Jang-gil that she lived a long, fulfilling life. Overcome with grief and rage, In-gil opens the door, allowing the zombies to flood into the once safe compartment. From the hallway, Sukwu and the others watch helplessly as the passengers inside are devoured. Shadows of the doomed passengers clawed desperately at the door they had just barricaded in a tragic twist of fate. The conductor receives a radio message confirming that Busan has successfully held off the zombie outbreak. However, as the train nears a station before Busan, it's blocked by debris on the track. He announces over the speaker that he will search for another train on an unblocked track to drive to Busan and advises the remaining survivors to follow him. Though they'll need to cross zombie-infested tracks to do so. After leaving his cockpit, the conductor finds a clear path and discovers a cargo train. He starts it and begins moving down the tracks, hoping to pick up survivors. Meanwhile, Sukwu and the others exit their train, unaware that Yeon-suk has survived by hiding in a bathroom. Hearing the conductor's message, Yeon-suk fights his way out, but zombies continue to pursue him as he leaves the train. As Sukwu's group makes their way toward the cargo train, a runaway burning freight car hurtles toward them. It crashes into a nearby train, blocking their path and separating Jin-hee and Jungkook from the group. They enter one of the train cars to find another route, unaware that Yeon-suk is following them, with a zombie on his heels. When Yeon-suk reaches them, he selfishly throws Jin-hee into the zombie's path, sacrificing her to save himself. Jungkook fights off the zombie, but is devastated as Jin-hee, now infected, collapses in his arms. As she begins to turn, Jungkook tearfully apologizes for never confessing his feelings to her. His grief is short-lived, as Jin-hee fully turns and attacks him, consuming his face and throat. Yeon-suk, meanwhile, runs toward the cargo train, but twists his ankle on the tracks. As he tries to continue, a zombie bites his ankle. The conductor sees this and rushes to help, but Yeon-suk, showing no remorse, betrays him by throwing him into the approaching zombies. Ignoring the conductor's cries for help, Yeon-suk boards the train alone. On the other side of the wreckage, Sukwu, Sung Kye-young, Soo-in, and the homeless man are trapped beneath a train full of zombies. The windows are on the verge of shattering. Sukwu finds a small opening under the train and begins crawling through it, but part of the train collapses, sealing the gap before the others can escape. The collapse also shatters a window, releasing a few zombies that crawl toward them. The homeless man sacrifices himself, distracting the zombies long enough for Sukwu to clear the debris. Sung Kye-young and Soo-in manage to escape and run toward the cargo train, where they climb onto the outdoor platform just in time. Seok-woo approaches the cockpit of the train, only to find Yeon-suk, now fully infected, sitting in the conductor's seat with milky white eyes. At first, Seok-woo tries to shut the door, but Yeon-suk, despite being a zombie, opens it. The infection has spread to his brain, but Yeon-suk begins pleading like a little boy, asking Seok-woo to take him home to Busan, reciting his address and his mother's name. Seok-woo tells him he is infected, and Yeon-suk, in a brief moment of clarity, is shocked and begins to cry. However, the transformation is swift, and within seconds, he fully turns into a zombie. Seok-woo struggles with him, nearly falling off the edge of the train. As So-yeon screams from the other side of the platform, it distracts Yeon-suk, who turns his attention to her and Song Kye-yeon, trying to attack them. Seok-woo intervenes, but in the process, he is bitten by Yeon-suk. With great effort, he manages to throw Yeon-suk off the train, but when he sees his injury, he knows that he will soon turn into a zombie. Accepting his fate, Seok-woo seats So-yeon and Song Kye-yeon in the cockpit and instructs them on how to use the brakes once they reach Busan Station. As he tries to leave the cockpit, So-yeon desperately begs him to stay. She tearfully reveals that on the day of her recital, she didn't finish singing because she was waiting for Seok-woo to arrive, saving the song for her father. In an emotional farewell, Seok-woo holds So-yeon's hands for a moment, cherishing the connection, before he gently pulls away and locks himself out of the cockpit. So-yeon breaks down in tears, crying for him to come back as Song Kye-yeon tries to console her. Walking toward the back of the train car, Seok-woo sobs as the infection spreads through his body. His mind drifts to memories of So-yeon as a baby, holding her tiny hands and feet, recalling the happiest moments of his life. As his eyes go white and his veins darken, the infection takes hold. But even as a zombie, Seok-woo smiles, remembering his daughter. He falls from the train, final act of sacrifice to protect So-yeon and Song Kye-yeon. The train reaches the tunnel leading to Busan Station, but the tracks are blocked by debris. Song Kye-yeon and So-yeon exit the train and walk down the dark tunnel, unaware that they are being watched by Busan military snipers on the other side. The snipers, unable to tell in the darkness whether the two are infected, prepare to shoot. Just as the sniper is about to pull the trigger, So-yeon begins to sing Aloha Oe, a mournful song that lifts the spirits of the exhausted Song Kye-yeon. Hearing her voice, the soldiers realize that they are not infected and rush to their aid, ensuring their survival. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more recaps like this. Your support helps us bring you the best content. Thanks for watching.